And we are live. Welcome to Total Health Live. I am Dr. Christopher Vogelmann with the super talented and knowledgeable Monika Klein, whom I have dubbed Nutritionist to the Stars.
And he's really talented too. I'm sure you know.
I'm a good dancer.
Are you really?
Yeah, well, I am actually. Yeah.
That's good. Me too. Must
there
be
you go.
Pisces.
Pisces, yeah. Or focus on our feet.
It's a foot focus thing.
So instead of focusing on feet, let's focus on digestion.
Yes, you are what you digest.
Hot topic.
Every way.
What you digest or what you absorb?
Well, both. Yes. Process, absorb. I actually, as we were waiting, as I was, preparing for this, I quickly jotted down 7 things about digestion. 7 tips. Number 1, eat when you're calm. Number 2, eat at regular times. Number 3, eat diverse foods, colors, textures, etc. 4, eat slowly, sort of similar to calm, but different. 5, make sure it's hunger, not thirst. Because sometimes we grab food when we're really thirsty, when we're dehydrated. 6, eat early. Like between 4 and 6, eat that last meal early so it doesn't conflict with your sleep schedule. And 7, try to sit and eat in a relaxed environment. Do not eat on the run.
I think sometimes you can eat something on the run, like a piece of fruit, like an apple. Wasn't that regarded as one of the perfect on-the-run foods?
Well, when you say on the run, we're talking about sitting in the car and eating it or something like that, or having some almonds in the car. Is that what you mean? Or actually walking and eating an apple?
Why can you walk and eat at the same time?
Good question. That's the question.
If you're a tiger and you're chewing on some meat while being chased by another tiger, maybe it is okay.
Well, we are not tigers, but I know we go off sometimes on different topics, but I saw something on Facebook, and there was a cat, and it was a sound like press the volume or press the mute button off, and it was this cat sort of howling, and the caption was, let your cat hear this because they will pay attention. Well, my cat was just like, because it was sort of like a cry, like almost like a mating cry. And she was just like immediately alerted, like, who is here? So
her attention was greater with the potential of a mater?
Possible. Well, I don't think so, because she had a mater here for 4 years, and she just like, get away from me.
Anti-social cat.
No, she's not at all. She's a really social. But this guy was, I loved him. Brian, we called him Brian. He was just so sweet. He was, he left us prematurely. And so it's almost, it was actually his anniversary yesterday when he passed away. He passed away 4 years ago. We miss him every day.
A long time ago.
Yeah. And he was only 6. But anyway, they digest very differently. Digest very differently.
What do cats eat compared to humans?
Well, we're not going to talk veterinarian science here.
Okay.
But cats. I just placed a chewy order today for my little girl.
Not big chewy.
No, chewy. It's like Petco. It's like PetSmart.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Online. They're an online delivery service. So last week I posted something on Facebook on my Coaching for Health page talking about the difference between digestion and metabolism. People get confused. Don't you agree?
Yes. only because I understand the perspective. I just have a different take, but I agree with you.
Yeah. So digestion, of course, is what you eat, and then you break it down, and metabolism is what you do with those things that are broken down during digestion. So anyway, that's just a simple thing about that. So, there's most cultures, especially, and I always quote Ayurveda, digestion is everything, because if you can't use what you're eating, you will get sick. So, and you can't use a lot of non-nutritious foods as fuel, and they won't feed your body what it needs.
I mean, Cheez-Its won't do it?
No, they just satisfy you temporarily, and they're actually a detriment. They're negative. It's a negative effect. So it will rob your body, because your body's busily processing and breaking that down like more than it needs to, while it's not doing its real job. It's sort of acting like a detoxer, an overdrive detoxer.
It's like a sink. It's like a sinkhole.
It's like a sinkhole.
Fall into,
yeah. So we don't want that. Well, do we?
Most of us don't.
No, most of us don't. No. So anyway, our digestive fire is usually at its height at midday. So 10 to 2 is really when we want to eat our biggest meals. And I know you grew up in a household doing the European, and many other cultures do this. Mm-hmm. They eat their largest meals at that time.
One big meal for 7 people. It was amazing.
One big meal. Eintopf, we used to call it. Well, actually, we never called it, but
somebody called it.
Yeah, I had a friend who actually had a cat, back to the cat theme, had a cat named Eintopf, and it means one pot in German. And she was a German friend of mine, so she that's what that means. So
the cat was a German friend of yours, or the person who took
both?
Both. Okay.
Her Persian cat became a friend of mine too. So, your most hearty and nutritiously dense food meal should be at that time. Although it's difficult the way we live, although we live very differently. In the last 2 months, we've been living very differently. So it's been a great opportunity to sort of play and experiment with this way of eating. Having your biggest meal earlier. I try to do my dinner about 4 o'clock or so, and my breakfast.
That's like the early bird special.
Yeah.
Do you get a discount for the 4 o'clock?
No discounts here.
Okay.
Full price. Yeah. No. So, between 4 and 6 is normally what I have, and it's been so hot. I mean, we keep getting these heat waves here in Southern California. It's like winter.
We might even turn on the AC today for the first time this season. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was winter, and then 2 days later, it was 100 degrees, 90 degrees. It's just crazy. So, what's important, your belly. Remember the belly brain we used to talk about with our health coach and health.
The gut brain axis. Exactly.
And how important the gut is. And there's even more, there are two calming neurotransmitters, serotonin and GABA. I mean, the major ones. And the stomach has more serotonin than the brain, 90% more. So it's vital that you treat your whole digestive system very, very gingerly, if you will. Ginger is very good for digestion, actually. But treat it well, and don't eat things that you shouldn't. Don't eat fast, like the 7 things the basics I just mentioned.
Well, yeah, because your immune system is centered on the gut. I mean, depending on who you believe, it's 67%, 70%, whatever, of your total immune health resources occur within the gut. So what you put in will have a big effect on what your immunity is.
And the whole microbiome focus right now is that's basically, you have more bacteria in your gut than you do in the rest of than you do cells in your body. And the microbiome's function is to protect you. And what better things do we need right now as protection? An internal protection against deadly viruses
and bacteria. Because sometimes it's the secondary infections like bacteria that get you.
Right. I just read something about another mutation with the COVID-19. I mean, this is such an ongoing story, and it's becoming, it's so hard to keep up with, because it's
evolving. And the one thing that you can count on in the universe is change. My dad always admonished me about that one. So
change. And the other thing you can really count on is how to take good care of yourself. You know, if you can take good care of yourself, and I'm not talking about fanaticism, I'm talking about healthy, sober ways of looking at life, you know, sort of a sane way of looking at life and your health and nutrition and your, you know, digestion and specifically is to not do, you know, faddish things or, you know, things that are maybe not be, they might not be effective for you. Maybe other people have tried different kinds of eating plans and food plans and they were very effective for them or they felt better.
That's what it reminds me. It reminds me of this biochemical individuality.
Individuality, yes. It is the time of personalized medicine and health, and health education. So everyone is very unique, very, very unique.
We all have a different DNA, and we can wash over our genetic code with the right ingredients for a better expression. Or if we wash over our DNA with the wrong stuff, we're going to get a negative expression, depending on which genes are turned on or off.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, because, you know, you'll have an apple and you'll have a brownie, you know, maybe a small little piece of brownie and an apple, and they both might be 80 calories, for example. So with such a focus on calories, we think it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. It's the same amount of calories. No big deal. Well, it totally is a big deal, because that sugar in that brownie is going to turn on these, did that just show up? There was this.
Did what just show up?
Okay, good. I'm glad it did. This page just showed up on my screen. Anyway, it's that's it. So the sugar is going to sort of turn on the disease enhancing genes and turn down the health enhancing.
I pushed a button because you said something showed up. So
are you still there?
Don't worry, but the genes. I'm here.
Yeah,
I just look.
This is a very easy, but sort of like this is a very key piece that a calorie is not a calorie. A calorie is not a calorie. So that brownie that everyone's salivating about it, because I keep talking about this brownie.
I actually have a lot of saliva right now. So,
so okay, you got the sugar. It's going to turn on like a switch, turn on the unhealthy disease creating genes and turn down the health creating genes. The apple, however, will do the complete opposite, because it's got all the ingredients. It's natural. It comes from the earth. It's a natural food. It has the complete opposite effect. Turns up the healthy person, healthy genes, and it turns down the disease creating genes. So
it contains the elements actually which help in its own digestion.
Yeah, exactly. It digests itself almost. So you don't have to expend all this extra effort to break something down, which, you know, it's used to breaking down foods like that, like foods it understands. So healthy digestion.
Hey, I know you, Apple. Brownie, you're a stranger danger. So.
Brownie, apple. Here we go. Brownie, apple. Okay.
It's like the devil. It's like the devil and the angel on your shoulder.
Exactly. So, you know, we talk about where digestion starts, and we usually think of it, you know, where do we say? I mean, you and I know, and most people do, but it starts in the mouth. We start secreting saliva, like we just heard that you were doing.
I was salivating for that brownie. Yeah.
Not for the apple.
Well, it was an imaginary brownie, and if I have my druthers, I have been wired in such a way over many decades to seek chocolate before apples.
Because sugar is addictive.
Oh, yeah.
The sugar, that's addictive. And that's why. So actually, before the saliva starts operating or functioning, it's really, digestion starts in your mind, because you imagined that brownie in your brain.
I suffer from BBS, brownie brain syndrome.
Yes, and many do. You're not the only one.
Okay.
There's the donut drowsy.
The drowsy donut dungeon.
Drowsy donut diet, which
Yeah.
none of us want to be on. So yeah, it starts in your brain. We start thinking about the food, and then we, and we're more susceptible certain times of the day to be wanting more sugar, for example, like towards. I think there have been studies showing that it happens more. The serotonin is depleted more in women towards the end of the day, and so looking for sugar, looking for some carb to satisfy that.
Well, think about in the normal workplace how people have like the coffee break at 10. Also at 4 o'clock, there's a large drop in blood sugar, and people will go for the coffee and brownies, the coffee and donut, or just one more treat. Or look, we've had a birthday in the office. There's birthday cake in the kitchen.
I have worked with so many of my clients over the year with whether it's teachers or attorneys or people in the corporate world, or moms at home, even because their kids are coming home at those times and they're having snacks. And so it's just really, really tough to just, either substitute something, walk away. I have this one teacher that, we've worked on this for a long time, and it's, in the break room, just take a walk, leave the scene of the crime,
take a break. Take a break from the break room.
Take a break from the break room. Yeah. You have to do that. Yeah. You have to do that. I mean, you have to strategize because it is everywhere. And, I know there's talk of opening, the world day by day strategically in the next weeks, next months. And so we don't know what the new normal is going to be like, do we? We don't know what the new normal diet is going to be like. And that's a hashtag. New normal diet.
Hashtag new normal diet.
Because we are, I almost called you Dennis.
I'm not Dennis.
Christopher and I are going to be doing something very special on Friday, and it's surrounding this very question, the new normal. What's the new normal going to look like? Because, if we're just talking about the foods that we're talking about, will there be those foods are available now, like the snack foods and all sorts of fast foods. They're available now. I'm wondering, will we be a little more choosy when we go back into the world?
Is that because choosy mothers choose Jif? No, wait, that's stuck in my brain.
Choosy mothers choose Chewy, Big Chewy.
Big Chewy. The giant squash. The giant butternut squash from Star Wars.
Yeah, I still have. Yeah, we love. I keep saying I'm going to bake Chewy, and Chewy
save Big Chewy is my other hashtag.
Chewy is a butternut squash.
Yes, he is, or she. I don't know.
Eaten and enjoyed, and it's really good for your stomach. Squash is really good for healing the stomach lining, as many other foods are. So yeah, Big Chewy. We'll say goodbye to number one Big Chewy, and then we'll find another Big Chewy in the market.
Wherever one Big Chewy exits, another Big Chewy comes in.
Gotta have it. That's for sure. So yeah, well, we don't know what's if we will be seeing and behaving differently once we go out into the world again. And again, we've spoken about the restaurant industry is not going to be anything like that.
And I'm telling you right now, if a restaurant has to operate at 25% seating capacity to adapt to the new normal of social or physical distancing, I don't see how they can stay in business.
I know. We have this favorite restaurant, and I happened to get 2 Groupons like in February. And then for my birthday in March, I got gift certificates. And I said, I need to use these because I don't know if it's still going to be around.
Use it for takeout or takeaway.
I did. I used them already. I used them in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I used them up because I thought, I hope they survive. We live across the street from a lake, and there are 3 really great restaurants there too. And they just started opening up again this last week for takeout. And so, you want to support. But it's interesting too that a lot of people are cooking at home now and they're feeling healthier too, because there's a lot of not so great stuff in restaurants, lots of salt, lots of other things, the way it's cooked, sugar, all of that, the three demons.
The three demons. Hail yourself from those demons. Stay at home and cook.
But again, we're not trying to be evangelical here.
We're not, nor are we trying to be nutrition Nazis.
Yes, we are not trying to be that. We are trying to be like a voice of reason when it comes to
helpful guides, if you will.
Yes, helpful guides. Yes, angelic, helpful guides. And the voice of reason.
Fun and functional.
Functional dietetics. Yes, that's what it's all about. I mean, again, it's always about the basics, really about the basics. So, so there are some things back to the microbiome, which is, again, all the bacteria that's in our gut.
Yep, your good critters.
Good bacteria.
Friendly critters.
Some of the things that will... so let's just talk about why not having good bacteria in balance in the gut is not a good thing, right? It breeds illness.
Yeah, because if you have bad critters beating out the good critters, you're going to be attracting those types of toxins and create this incredibly hostile environment within yourself so that even more bad things can happen.
Right. Your immune system is depleted, your brain function too, because we're talking about serotonin. If you're, I'm sure you've done this too, Christopher, where you've taken people off of carbs, like and things like that, and then when you reintroduce it, it's like they've got this immediate foggy brain. Yeah,
especially with certain grains. I mean, if some people get really foggy with wheat, for example, but not with rice. So I mean, and that's that experiment. You're constantly
less allergenic, and it's also non-gluten. So rice is non-gluten. So a lot of people have issues with gluten, of course. Mm-hmm. I remember I used to love having, like, this was, 20 years ago, I'd love having my cafe latte with a little scone from Starbucks. And then, I was in this habit. I got into this habit and I thought, well, kind of healthy. And then I stopped completely cold turkey. And then, you're in this zone where, like, I don't need it. And then you say, well, hey, I feel strong. Why don't I try and see what it's like?
Let me go try another food experiment today.
Food experiment. And it's all about food experiments. When you start, you're eating cleanly and you kind of go off the rails for one meal or one food or whatever, 1 week. It's harder when it's 1 week, for sure.
One day is easier to survive, and you get off that horse and get back on again.
So I had this food experiment with the scone, and it was instant. Foggy brain, so lethargic, so tired. So, I mean, these kinds of experiments really kind of give you feedback right away. Like, okay.
Did it cause you to scorn the scone?
Scorn the scone. It was a scorn.
Give me another hashtag, scorn scone.
It was the scorn scone. Well, it's not like I haven't had a scone since, but really, actually, it was a great way for me to get out of that habit that I had prior to getting off it. Mm-hmm. So, so things that will, so again, your health is compromised if you don't have that microbiome, that great, good bacteria in your gut, in your stomach, in your whole digestive system. So we want to eat a diverse diet in order to balance that. We want to eat prebiotic foods. We've talked about that before. Sauerkraut, kimchi, fermented vegetables, fermented foods. Yeah.
Pickled stuff.
Kefir, buttermilk. Oh, my parents used to love buttermilk. Well, all those things.
I like buttermilk. I like buttermilk too, and almost nobody else in my family liked it except for my dad and I. My dad and I had very similar tastes when it came to foods like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they were drinking. My parents and I don't know. Your mother didn't like it.
I mean, she would have some buttermilk. She would cook with it or something, but she wouldn't pour a glass of buttermilk. My dad and I would.
Yeah, my parents did too, and it was their version of kefir, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so those kinds of foods, prebiotics, very, very helpful in promoting good bacteria in your body. So, so some of the other prebiotic foods, actually, lots of vegetables are in this category. Alcohol will.
Oh man, that'll kill your good critters.
Yeah, but red wine does have some polyphenols, which have a little bit of benefit.
Yeah, you get a little antioxidant in there.
Yeah. And resveratrol as well. So, so then smoking, of course, not good for so many things. So many things.
Yeah, don't allow a burning cigarette in your gut. It's not good.
Don't light the fire. You have a fire already in your gut. You don't need to add more fire. And
don't boost your inflammation.
And it's interesting. In Ayurvedic medicine, there are 3 body types. They're called doshas. There's a Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And so they each need to eat very differently because of their body type and their constitution. We call it their constitution. So Vata types are very thin and bony, and they have certain propensities for diseases like arthritis and dry skin. For example, skin issues. So they need to eat more fat usually. And so less salads, more cooked food, because they're very, they have, more of a frenetic nervous system. Pittas have more of the fire. They're the fire element, whereas Vata is more of the air element. So Pitta is the fire element. So they have to be wary of hot foods and alcohol too. Hot and spicy foods, they definitely need to be leery of, and they tend to be more, more of the athletic build and more of the, they're like very, ambitious, shall we say? And
they also can be emotional bulldozers, but that's a whole other story.
Well, if they're out of balance, and that's the thing, we've got to look at balance, because a Vata could be spinning out of control too. That's them out of balance. And then there's the Kapha. The Kapha tends to be they tend to collect things. They collect people, things, weight often. So they're the ones that are best suited to less fat, more raw vegetables and salads and things like that. So it's interesting because all three of those have different digestive ways of digesting their food and digesting life as well, because that's another thing. It's not just about digesting your food, it's digesting your thoughts, how you process your thoughts. I mean, there's a lot coming at us right now, a lot.
Well, and people sometimes get so upset they get disgusted or non-gustatory. They're not digesting things well.
Yeah, I mean, in Chinese medicine, all every organ is connected to a group of emotions. It's called the 5-element theory, and the stomach is expanded importance of self, disgust. There's a whole 5 or 6 things emotions associated with the stomach. But again, digestion isn't just the stomach. We've got all the organs. You
got yourself, your pancreas, your gallbladder, your liver, all them things.
Your small intestine and
your big old intestine.
It's a very long tract.
It's one big tube. We are basically a tube within a tube, is what the digestive system is.
A tube within a tube, and then the spinal cord, Dr. Vogelmann, is connected to those organs.
Indeed. Every single organ has a nerve supply to it. So
exactly.
That's why we used to do things. Somebody come in for pain in their middle back, and you'd start working on them. They'd start feeling better, and it's like, wait a minute, the pain's gone, but so is my ulcer.
Yes.
That happened a lot. And now your brother is a chiropractor too. One of your brothers.
I have a brother who's a chiropractor. I have many friends who are chiropractors, and I have a brother who's a dentist who's recovering from the COVID stroke. So, and lots of nurses and helping professions in my family. So
they're all taking care of people.
In fact, my sister is an editor, a book editor. She edited my book, and I sent out an email today, and for this class that we're going to be doing, or this thing we're going to be doing on Friday. And she said, well, you have the wrong times on there. And I thought, well, not only is well, she's an editor, but I'm glad she told me because it said 3 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock Eastern, which is 1 o'clock
Pacifico.
On this coast. You used to call it the left coast,
the left coast, the left coast, and the right coast. It took me almost maybe 4.5 years to adjust to the idea of Pacific time, because my most of my life has been on East Coast time.
Right.
So I'm always, the number 3 is always in my head because I'm either adding or subtracting 3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm so excited about doing this class on Friday that I was working pretty hard, and I think the 3 got there instead of the 4 for somehow. Talk about 3.
It was probably the 3-hour difference of East Coast that got in your head. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I did. Thank you.
But you just correct that in your subsequent emails. So.
Yes, I did. In fact, I did. So why was I mentioning that? I don't know why.
I think because you have helping professions in your family, including your sister
helpful.
who edited your book.
Very helpful. She was the editor.
Exactly.
The editor. So so we are, that's how we actually started. We were going to do a health show a long time ago. It was from coast to coast, straight health talk.
It was like the Tom Snyder and Rona Barrett of
Exactly.
health.
Yeah. We also had the accents too, but we're not doing that right now.
We're not doing coffee.
And coffee talk. Well, no, we were going to do click and clack, weren't we? It was going to be health talk instead of clack talk. Yeah.
Health talk. But you already had Total Health Talk as your program when you were doing cable television in LA.
Yeah. My television show, I did that for 12 years, called Total Health Talk, and we aired it throughout Los Angeles County and parts beyond. But I had I had that show, and it was a perfect name for it because we did a lot of talking. But he had great
guests too.
Yeah.
Like I still remember Udo Erasmus was one of my favorite. The fat man.
Udo? Yeah, the
fat man would sing.
He still has products in stores. Of course, Udo's Choice is. Yeah. We can see in our health food stores. Yeah, I had really great. I even had Robert Atkins on, and so I've had some really great experiences with some of these leading thinkers in the field of health, nutrition, and wellness.
And now the next generation. As we start talking, and who knows, we could probably bring some guests in at some point too. Who knows? I mean, everyone's doing the Brady Bunch thing right now with Zoom. A Brady Bunch. Get nine squares up there.
Yeah.
Start looking down on each other. And
we don't know what the new normal is going to be like, but we are going to be talking about it on Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. East Coast. And there you go. I did it.
and noon Alaskan and 11 a.m. Hawaiian time for those of you in the Aloha state.
I just found out it's 15 hours in the Philippines, so it's 15 hours ahead. So
there you go. So all you Filipinos and Filipinos, tune in.
Filipinos, yes. I have a virtual assistant there, so we were able to chat. So
anyway,
digest that. So
digest that. Put that in your tummy and break it down.
In fact, that's what we should have called this. Digest that.
Digest that, not this. Or no, digest this, not that.
Exactly.
Actually, that could work for another one. We'll keep that title in mind.
Yes.
All right. Are we winding down?
I think we are.
Okay.
That's a wrap.
Our wind up. That's a wrap.
Bye, everyone. See you on Friday.
Come on back on Friday. We'll be here.
Come on back.
We've got a lot of info.
Special. It's special.
You betcha. Bye.
Bye.